I chose to do my contribution on Leah Katherine Hicks Manning. I chose her because she stood out to me due to her helping and fighting for children, especially Native American children. She was educated at Bacone Indian Junior College in Muskogee, Oklahoma, and she was also educated at PechaKucha College for Women in New York City. Leah Hicks Manning was born in Reno, Nevada in 1917 and attended high school in Oklahoma. After getting her degrees at both Bacone and PechaKucha, she became a fourth-grade teacher at American Indian School. Her love for children was clearly deep, as she became a teacher to help educate the students. Leah studied social work at the University of Chicago and then went on to practice in LA after World War II. Manning became a part-time social worker with the United Presbyterian Church and got a social work master's degree from the University of Utah in 1968. She then spent time educating social workers. Manning played a key role in bringing the needs of Indian children to the attention of the Congress. Manning played a prominent role in developing and advocating for the Indian Child Welfare Act. The 1978 Act was created to prevent the separation of Native children from their families and communities through adoptions. The goal of the act was to strengthen and preserve Native American families and cultures, and it reestablished tribal authority over the adoption of Native American children. Manning is responsible for creating what may consider to be the first program that provided social services to Native Americans in Nevada. Manning was the director of this program and supervised American Indian professionals who provided substance abuse prevention, family counseling, public health services, and financial assistance. Leah was instrumental in the developing and the passage of the Indian Child Welfare Act. She believed that adoption and foster care policies for the Native American children should emphasize keeping them on reservations or near their families to promote a healthy development. The Indian Child Welfare Act was enacted in 1978 in response to a crisis affecting American Indians, families, and tribes. Studies revealed that large numbers of Native children were being separated from their parents by state child welfare and private adoptions agencies. It was found that 25 to 35% of all Native Americans were being removed. Of these, 85 were placed outside of their families. This is with children. The Indian Child Welfare Act sets federal requirements that apply to state child custody proceedings involving an Indian child who is a member of or eligible for membership in a federally recognized tribe. At this time, not only was the Child Welfare Act needed, but it was crafted to address many issues. National Congress of American Indians was a group that Manning was a part of. The group's purpose was to secure and preserve American Indians' rights under treaties and agreements with the United States, as well as federal statutes, case laws, and administrative decisions and rulings. This was kind of like the Child Welfare. The intent of Congress under the Indian Child Welfare Act was to protect the best interests of Indian children and promote the stability and security of Indian tribes and families. Among added protections by the Indian Child Welfare Act, the Indian Child Welfare Act requires caseworkers to make several considerations. On this slide, it shows some of the policies that help with making a change. For example, the Civilization Act, the Removal Act, Dawes Act, and many more. This slide shows that the change starts with national policy, and Leah Hicks Manning was a big part of making a change for the Indian child welfare. I could not find any pictures of Leah Hicks Manning, so this is a picture of her daughter and her family. She was killed along with her unborn baby, 3 other children, and her mother, which was Leah, in a suspicious fire on the Duck Valley Indian Reservation in northern Nevada on February 12, 1979. She was a part of the Shoshone-Paiute tribes. This is a Native American tribe who originated in the West Great Basin and spread north and east into present-day Idaho and Wyoming. Tribal education on the reservation consisted of a single boarding school until 1911 when 3 schools were built on this reservation. Federal Indian law is defined by 4 key issues: Tribes are independent and have a right to self-govern. Tribal independence is subject to the acts of Congress, who may modify or regulate. Only the federal government is authorized to regulate and monitor tribes, not local governments. The federal government is obligated and has a responsibility to protect tribes and its properties. The BIA was a key part of helping Leah pass and fight to protect Native American children. Since its inception in 1824, the BIA has been both a witness to and principal player in the relationship between the federal government and Indian tribes, for almost 200 years, dating back to the role it played in negotiating treaty agreements between the U.S. and tribes. This slide reinstates what the Indian Child Welfare Act applies to state, county, and private child welfare agencies. It covers tribal children from all American Indian and Alaska Native tribes listed in the Federal Register. Indian Child Welfare Act supports Indian tribes' authority over their members and the well-being of Indian children and families. In the Indian Child Welfare Act, they make sure to have rules and regulations, such as who is an Indian child. Under the Indian Child Welfare Act, an Indian child is any unmarried person who is under the age of 18 and is either a member of an Indian tribe or is eligible for a membership in an Indian tribe and is the biological child of an Indian tribe member. Sadly, Leah Katherine Hicks died in a fire with her family. She spent her short life on Earth fighting for Native American children. She spent time educating children and older adults on the culture of Native Americans, and she also worked with the government to pass laws that help Native Americans, such as the Indian Child Welfare Act. It is now 2018 and we still have the Indian Child Welfare Act, but we rarely hear about Leah Hicks Manning and many others involved in passing acts that have helped many. Hopefully with this PowerPoint I have brought some light to her work and you will remember what impact she had on not only Native American children, but social workers and many more.